Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I am back with another example of a card that I made using the Snowfront stamp set. This time it is not Christmas, I'm going to make a sympathy card with it. So to get started, I'm going to do a kind of a watercolor background technique. So on a scrap of watercolor paper, it just needs to be big enough for your E block, but then we will die cut it so it doesn't have to be perfect size. So to start, I'm going to color on my block with my Stampin Write markers. So I'll color with Pool Party Stampin Write marker in the middle. Then I have my Garden Green Stampin Write marker for the bottom. And it doesn't have to be totally even. We're going to spritz it with water and you won't be able to see your coloring marks. And then I have my Night of Navy Stampin' Write marker for at the top. And the next step will be to spritz. I just have plain water in my Stampin Sprizter. Spritz my watercolor paper a couple times first. Then I will spritz on my block. And I'm pretty liberal. I want to make sure that the color actually blends into my paper. So I'm going to be quickly flip it over and push it down. So you can see the color will soak into my watercolor paper. Hold it for a little bit until you can see that the excess water is on the edge of your block. And then I'm going to lift up from the side and peel my block off so that all the excess water goes to one side. If you lift straight up, then you'll get this extra water in the middle of your paper, and then it won't give you the same effect. So to speed this up, I will heat it up with my heat tool. And you do want to make sure that this is nice and dry because we are going to die cut it with one of our stitched rectangles. So you'll see the edges don't matter. We're just going to use the center or the best part of your watercolored rectangle. So I'll set that aside and I'll get rid of this scrap piece of paper. And we'll do some quick stamping and then I will go die cut our watercolor paper. So there are 4 different sizes of trees in this stamp set. So I need 2 large trees. And this is stamped on very vanilla paper with garden green ink. And then 1 of each of the smaller trees. And then also out of this same scrap, I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Night of Navy. Didn't stamp very well. I'm going to flip it over. There we go. So now I'm going to go fussy cut all of these trees out. There aren't dies that match this stamp set. And then I will die cut our stitched rectangle and I will be right back. So I have die cut that stitched rectangle out of our watercolor paper. So I'll keep that, and then I have fussy cut all of those trees. So my next step will be to use a sponge dauber and dauber the edges and lightly over top of the tree, just so that it's not so bright on the very vanilla, and it'll make them blend into our stamped background a little bit more. So I'll keep doing these. These sponge daubers come in a pack of 5, and you don't need one for every color. You could use one for each kind of primary color, so have one for reds and one for greens, one for blues. Once they're dry, once the ink is dry, then the ink doesn't come off of them anymore, or you can actually wash them as well. So I have one more tree. Then our next step is going to be stamping our mountains in Night of Navy on our watercolor background. So I'll start with full strength, kind of centered up close to the top on the blue. Then I'm going to stamp off once, just so that I don't get a bad line, and then stamp it higher for our second generation. Then I'm going to stamp our inside layer as well, just to bring that design into the inside of the card. So I'll stamp my mountain, full strength, and then second generation, and then just one of the trees a couple times. Add one more darker one here. So there's my inside of our card. Now we just have assembly left. I'll bring in my card base. I have a Seaside Spray card base, just our standard size, and we'll fold that in half. Oh, sorry. So we'll fold that in half, and then I have a piece of Night of Navy that's just about 1/8 of an inch larger than our stitched rectangle. So I'll adhere that together. There we go, and I just have some extra die cut edge piece. Oh, and I did forget one step. In Seaside Spray, I'm going to use an image from the Artisan Textures stamp set. It's just a background image. So I'm going to stamp that in second generation on my card front, just to give a little bit of interest to the background, but to not take away from the focal point of our card, which is our mountain scene. So just subtle on the background. Now I can adhere our mountain on the front. And I'll put that towards the bottom right. Next, I have a pretty label punch that's embossed with the knit embossing folder, and I'm going to just cut off almost to the center, and I'm just going to adhere that to the side here on dimensionals. So I'll put that near the bottom there. Then I'll start adhering my trees. Now I'm only going to put glue at the bottom so that the top kind of is loose. So I'll fill in my little forest. Oops. Oh, and I didn't mention that the pretty label punch that's embossed is in Mossy Meadow. And one more little one on the front. There we go. And the last part will be to adhere our sentiment. And I'll just put a mini dimensional on the one end and Tombow on this end so that the edge sticking off, and then this end will be adhered to those trees. There we go, wait for those to dry. And then we can adhere our inside layer. So there's my card for you today. Here is my sample one that I had made earlier. So very similar. I hope you enjoyed my design today. If you'd like to purchase the Snowfront stamp set or any other product I've used today, you can head over to my blog, stampinstorytellers.blogspot.com, and there's in the top right hand corner there's a link that says shop with me. You can click there and then you can order any product through me. I hope you have the great rest of your day and see you soon. Bye. Hi, I'm back. I realized when I was taking a photo that I forgot to add the ribbon. So this is our garden green stitched ribbon that is available in the holiday catalog as well. I just added a little flag, so it's about a 3-inch piece folded in half, and I just tucked it underneath the label there. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.